What's cracking? What's cracking, everybody? Other than my voice, what's cracking, folks? How we doing? It's Big Cheds. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for hanging out with me. It is Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Weekend's coming. Let's have some fun. It's April 11th, 2025. This year's going by quickly. I hope everybody's doing well. So we're going to do, of course, we'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, we'll do Solana, we'll do top altcoins. This is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube, Cheds Trading. You probably know me from Twitter, at Big Cheds. I've recently published my fourth book, The Trading Journal. I'm making, because of that, I'm making my third book free. Check out the Trading Quotes playlist. I'm going to do the entire book for free. Trading Wisdom's already got a free version. My Battles with Cancer's got a free version. They're all, of course, available on Amazon. The Trading Journal. This is a wonderful book. Waiting for some more reviews, folks. Buy the book. Tell me if you like it, you don't like it. Essentially, a great cover. And the idea is that you can, why you should use a trading journal, what goes in it, you know, the emotional mindfulness, stop loss, profit-taking plan, your trading thesis, good trader habits, emotional management. It's Trading Wisdom Part 2. And the idea is that, you know, the residue of any failed trade is a lesson yet to be learned. So you want to take the, take the lesson. You want to take the value that's left over from a failed trade. That's the Trading Journal. Love this book. Hopefully you will check it out. Bitcoin Live, I do a twice a week full market report every Wednesday and Sunday night. I go through the entire market in depth. These are quick market updates. I just kind of hang out with you, answer random questions. I do touch base on the chart, but the real in-depth reports at Bitcoin Live. And of course, you're looking for a trading exchange, check out BingX, my favorite trading exchange, now fully integrated with TradingView. You can check out the link in the description. So we are here. You're here. We're here together. Let's have some fun. If you can hear me, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know where you're from, you know, what you want to talk about today, what you're into, and we'll go from there. So Bitcoin's at a really, really interesting spot. It's kind of whiplashing around, and I'll set the table by talking about how we have been dealing with the momentum loss of 90K and trading in the range in between the two major, trading in this area in between the two major trading ranges, and watching for price interaction with MA50 and watching for potential tag of the prior range high. We're in a very headline-sensitive environment right now. And so we've seen a tweet, a policy proposal can really move the market, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But the only thing, what we can do with TA is try to put that volatility into context. So I have a bunch of tweets to go over because I think there may be some momentum brewing here in low time frame, and I'll kind of walk my way through it. And then I'll get to your questions. But I want to kind of riff on the chart, for a little bit. So we're watching the MA50. We want to see it hold. We know what it meant when the price started to lose the 50 back in 2021, what that meant for the strength of the trend. And we like to see that continue. We want to hit our cup and handle target, 250K. We want to continue higher. We want to see price hold, MA50. And I've been thinking it pretty much makes sense that we're going to hit this prior range high, right? Until a couple days ago, I started to see some momentum turning around. I actually switched bullish again, and I'll kind of walk you through that. And it may be that we have front run tagging 72K, and we may be holding here at the MA50, putting in a pin bar, some type of lower shadow candle. I'm going to walk you through how that might be happening. So I put out a tweet. I started to see something. This corresponded also with, and I'm not a fundamentals trader. I'm kind of shit at fundamentals, as you know, which is why I lean on the TA to help me define my risk. I started to notice something was going on, though. I said, okay, 4H markup. And it doesn't necessarily mean, markup can mean a term that means like accumulation, but I was saying I was just marking up the chart. Someone says, I don't know what markup means. I basically said, I'm just basically marking up the chart. And the idea here is that I want to mark out levels that would suggest momentum's turning around, because it seemed to be at a potential, turning point in the market. We have the dual lows, descending supply trend, and an overhead level right around 81K. And what happened was, now here's the update from the quoted tweet. It's a series of quoted tweets. And now two-level filter test. What's a two-level filter? Well, the idea is that you don't want to just go long on a downtrend break or down a trend line, right? A trend line is a trend of falling supply. You don't want to just go long on the trend line break because you can just ride that trend line all the way down. So you wait for that 2-level filter, a lower high break. In this case, it was the peak of the W. A W meaning double bottom, peak, trough, time interval, price distance, checking all the boxes in classical charting, and corresponded really with these lows, the failed lows here where it tried to hold right around 181, 81.5. So started with the markup, and then I'm letting folks know, hey, price, most of my tweets are to let you know, it's for people who just, they can't watch a chart all day. I do that for you, and a lot of the time, or a lot of it is me letting you know when the price is at a key level. You can, if you want to be long, you can be long. You want to be short, you can be short, but the price is interacting with the key level that allows you to define that risk. So the tweet here says essentially 2-level filter test. I explain what that is. Peak of W, explain that. Flip would trigger a long trade, and it did trigger a long trade because we actually had a break. We had a break of the W and then a throwback being a bullish retest from above. This looked pretty conducive, and this type of price action was telling me, okay, this looks like we might be front running. That's at that moment we might be front running. 72K. Giving me a little bit of confidence was a shift in equities markets, and the idea that the price was at the MA50, and that's been support. So I was thinking, okay, we're good to go. We're reversing here. And then I just faked out. So let's see. So it got super faked out. So what happened was, looks like I got faked out by yesterday's move. We had dropped right back below. Let's go to the 4-hour. Okay. What a choppy environment. So we'll mark it up again. But it looked like it got faked out, right? So we have the descending supply trend. We have the descending supply trend. And you have the lower high break marked out, right? And it's like, oh no, totally faked out. Did we? All right. Or did we? Here's your low. Here's your higher low. Okay. So I'm like, looks like I got faked out. And then this morning I'm maybe I didn't get faked out. And Coco Crypto wanted to know, why not wait for a 3-day close? You certainly can. This is one of those things where I kind of trade intra-candle because I'm looking at the charts all day. Some people who can't watch all the time, wait for daily close, 2 daily close, 3 daily close. This is for you. If you want to wait for 3-day close, go. I adapt because my long risk was what my long idea failed below 81. So it was a minimal loss on a long trigger there. All right. And so now it's pushing back and it's back up above 81K. We want to see that hold 81K. We want to see momentum continue to build. Okay. It's definitely a high, headline sensitive market. It's definitely, this is high risk right now for sure. Given, like I said, that one tweet can move the market one way or another, but we have this kind of 4-8 progression pushing higher. And I'm going to get back to Ethereum, but I want to take a look at equities too. Your SPY kind of flat, which is good. We, rather than being super up, super down, super chopping around. And so it kind of still does look like maybe a floor has been put in. So what do Bitcoin bulls want to do? Ideally hold 81K. If that fails, you really want to see the higher low hold right around 78.5. If that fails, 78.5 fails, I think, okay, we're going back to 72. But you have to be adaptive here. Your opinion should really only be as strong as your ability to, like, here we go. Regain 81K and we're back in business. I put out this morning. That's the sense that, back above 81K, we're back with the idea of regaining that low time frame pivot corresponding with the high time frame support at the MA50, and with the idea that the bulls are going to recapture, the trend, which is, the rising MA200. It's kind of choppy. It's kind of sloppy. You may say I'm bouncing around, and that's fair. That is fair, but I am, for the most part, an intra-candle trader. I'm usually quite conservative, but I don't want to miss a major turning point in the market. When I see that happening, I want to stay on top of it. And because I'm trying to provide value for people who can't watch the chart all day, and I'm chasing clout too, like everybody else. I want to say, hey, look, here was a signal. I gave you a good signal. I gave people to sell at 90K, and I'm saying, okay, it looks like we may be forming a bottom here, even though I'm thinking, 72K. I'm pivoting away from that thesis because of the strength I'm seeing here locally. All right. Looking at Ethereum, we'll go back to the crypto watch list. Ethereum, okay, tried to W as well with the V and the Adam and Eve with the low spring, no follow through, which isn't that much of a surprise given the continued weakness versus Bitcoin. Solana's interesting as well. I originally said you can use 120 as a trade pivot such that you're looking to short, and to move into it, but it actually kind of looks like you may want to think about a long above 125. So I would keep an eye. This would be your 2-level filter on Solana. Yes, I still have my stink bids, my lowball bids around $45. No sweat. But you want to always be challenging your thesis. A true chart technician can articulate the bull and the bear thesis, and checking my bear thesis would be a flip of 125. So you want to start to keep an eye on that. If the market truly is pivoting, if Bitcoin truly is finding footing, and there may be some trade opportunities, like Solana over 125 would be one, for example. So let's jump into the chat and hopefully, and I'll try to answer your questions. Go ahead and fire out whatever you want me to talk about. I'm here for you for like the next 15, 20 minutes. I do these again, I try to do as much free content as possible. Yeah, you can buy my books. If you do, thank you, and leave a honest review. But I make it free. I mean, Trading Wisdom, Battles of Cancer, now Trading Quotes. And by the way, make sure you watch the Masterclass tutorial playlist. It's going to really help you navigate the markets, understand my moving averages, my style. I do teach professional technical analysis. I did CMT. I teach classical charting and candlestick theory. So let's go into the chat. Christian Martwan, Kratos Slim, Yanez, Gray Brahms, Shandan, Yimi, Andre. Nice to see you folks as well. So let me check with the chat. This is your opportunity. You probably tweet at me all the time, and I may see your tweet, I may not, but I usually don't respond because there's so many. This is where you can get at me and ask me a question, and that's what's the deal. So Mohammed says, appreciate you, Mohammed. The Spanish stock market's going crazy. Really? I didn't quite cover that. I could look it up, but that's interesting. Church of Eight Wheels is the sound, which is really good. Crypto Monk, what's up, Shandal? Thank you. All right, to Trevor, here's a question. And folks, I want your questions. I want to be challenged, okay? Thoughts on shorting rips directly at key resistances? Yeah, okay. Versus waiting for a potential squeeze up and then short and reclaim below. Yes, just different strategies. So these individuals asking about this. So we have an example of where you have let's do it this way, where you have a resistance level, okay? It's been established over time, multiple time attempts, a time interval, and the price is pushing back up into that level, okay? Do you take a short on the retest or on what would be called the up thrust or the failed hold? I think either are good. I would say an up thrust usually has a better chance than what's called a pullback or an underside retest, which is the opposite of a throwback because you already have a failed momentum move. I really do like the up thrust personally. And the question was, is it just a different strategy? And yes. And what I would choose is the up thrust. I prefer to wait for the up thrust. Great question. Hey, Dreamer, what's going on? Demetrius, did you get faked up eventual market action this week? Definitely. Your bias analysis had changed since Sunday's Bitcoin Live. Yes and no. I'm actually back to being bullish on Bitcoin. What I talked about in Bitcoin Live was 81K. And so back above 81K, I'm thinking there could be a bottom here, and that's going to manage my risk. Below 81K, I'm going to say, okay, that didn't quite work. I'll definitely take a look at the higher low. But this is the idea I've talked about. And again, I'll in depth on Sunday night on Bitcoin Live. The idea that a trade idea can be revalidated. In this sense, the 81K thesis I talked about at Bitcoin Live was revalidated on the recapture of 81K. So should we continue to hold 81K, we're back above the W, we're above the peak. We are, flirting with a higher time frame hold of the SMA 50. So I did get chopped around, and it's not the first time, it won't be the last time. But I've talked about this many times, is you can reinitiate a trade idea if your trade idea has been revalidated, which is what you see here back over 81K. Andre, wish you great rest of the week. I wish you a great rest of the week as well. Mohammed says, would you consider a revisit of 90K regions underside test? Definitely. Definitely. Or is the chance now bigger that we visit the 90K region? So let me see the question. Now then we go into. So I kind of still feel like we're going to push back up to around 88.5 on Bitcoin, which was where the price had rejected. You had a very clear failure on the 2-level filter previously, which set up a nice short where the price captured the descending supply trend and failed in the 2-level filter. With this momentum, it kind of looks like to me like there's a good chance we do push up to 88.5. Mohammed, so I'm actually watching that rather than 90 because that's the local, meaning nearby, and the most recent, price action, classical charting, the most recent price action is the most important. So I'd be watching 88.5. If it doesn't fail at 88.5, you can take a long there, and your next level would be 94.5K roughly. I would love to see this back up into the range and trading in this channel. That'd be gorgeous. We'll see if we get there. Could very easily fail here. And I'll do another update tomorrow. And then I'm actually traveling for a few weeks. So tomorrow's going to be my last YouTube for a little while. But I'll be in Bitcoin Live, of course. You catch me there twice a week, no matter what, rain or shine, vacation or not. Cheds, do you think gold is topping out? Let's take a look. I actually saw it. I almost tweeted out a really nice bullish throwback here. A bullish throwback. Do I think gold's topping out? Did you say, are you sure that's what you meant to ask me? Gray market? And by the way, gray market, is that from penny stocks? Why would you think this is topping out? This is accelerating. This is gorgeous. There's no suggestion of topping out here. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Report junk. What is this nonsense? Text. It's beautiful here. So why would I think this is topping out? I don't know if I don't know if that's the right question. I'm surprised you'd ask me that. Okay, folks. How do you get your take profit and stop loss levels? How do I get them? Gilbert, what do you mean by that? I can tell you, if you want to understand my general strategy and profit taking, you can go to Trading Wisdom on my YouTube. Video number 9, profit taking. Look at this wonderful video series. Okay. This is my best-selling book. It's sold over 15,000 copies. And I have a third of it for free. You got to take advantage of it. I love the content I have here for you. So I get my my levels based on the price. I would let the price guide me. So, for example, a level of interest would be here, right? 88.5, where the price was rejected. I pay attention when the price establishes a clear level. I use that to manage my risk. Can you please look at ADA? Sure. Chelsea, I'm happy to do that. And folks, thank you for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out with me here on a Friday. I know you could be doing other stuff, but I appreciate each and every one of you. The more you show up, the more it encourages me to continue doing these. Looking a little bit of underside here, a little bit of underside action on ADA, kind of underside lost support. It's got some work to do. Not that much into this chart. I'm not really looking to go long. I don't think you should be holding it, unless you kind of dropped in these earlier lows. I think you kind of just wait and let this one consolidate. Not really a nice clean trade per se. Maybe a flip of 65, 66. Maybe you could use that, but I just don't like the chart. There's better charts. This one's messy. It needs some time to play out. So I'm not a huge fan of the chart, Chelsea, but thank you for asking. Thoughts on H-bar? I was watching H-bar, and I did identify a potential overhead level, 18.5. A flip of 18.5 would provide cover or a reasonable idea for a long trade with the idea of recapturing lost support. You can also use the push into the underside of said level to structure a short trade. Price interaction with key level. You want to train yourself to be looking for that. You do not want to trigger in the middle of the channel. Wait till the price is at a key level. Thank you, Martwani. Says very good lesson. Thank you, brother. Do you use this, Gilbert? Do you use the same EMAs and SMAs in stocks as well? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, pardon me. In my Masterclass tutorials, I explain why I use the moving averages. I'm going to do a new one probably late summer. This takes me several months to prepare for. This is some of the best free alpha on YouTube, and it explains the difference between an exponential moving average, which, for example, I have the EMA 8, the green line. Exponential means the most recent candle as more price weighting. So an 8 EMA, the most recent candle is more weighting than the 8th candle. The idea of it is it's really responsive to price. Use it for short term. EMA 8 primary uptrend, secondary uptrend EMA 34. Simple moving average, aka SMA, equally weighted. So the orange line's a 50, all 50 candles equally weighted. 200 equally weighted. General rule of thumb, you want to use simple moving averages for 50 and above, especially 200. EMA for short term works fine. You can use simple all the way. Some people use 5 and 10. Simple. A lot of people use 12 and 26 exponential. In any case, I explain what my moving averages are, why I use them, all that in the tutorial. And yes, you want to use the same chart setup for every market, okay? Classical charting works in every market. Any market that's traded, that has volume. You do not want to be like, okay, now I'm looking at gold, so I'm going to use the 14 EMA, versus the 12. You do not want to tailor your moving averages for a chart. You're creating bias, and you're creating, it's just a bad system. Be disciplined, and learn your system, build up that muscle memory. Okay, great question so far. Freddie says, I got the trading journal in the mail from Amazon. What do you think about the cover, man? And Freddie, what do you think about the book so far? And Freddie, please leave a review. RG says, Cheds, compare last Bitcoin tops to Bitcoin dominance. You'll see that all Bitcoin tops have low Bitcoin dominance. Now Bitcoin dominance is high. Yeah, it's also a different market. Freddie or Ari, here's the thing you want to think about, okay? There's limited value in comparing prior tops other than just like price versus, moving averages. You don't necessarily want to look at stuff. Generally, like dominance is kind of useless. I don't use it. I don't look at like total market cap, USDT. There's a couple things that I want to say on that. First of all, if you'll notice, this is the first time ever we dropped below the prior all-time high. We did that last cycle, and it had never happened before. So there's evidence of longer-term weakening trend. With Bitcoin now part of equities, you see volatility tampering down. With Ethereum falling apart, and just altcoins, so many millions of altcoins, we're seeing dominance continuing to rise. So I don't know that you're going to be able to do what you say, because Bitcoin dominance last time. I don't really think there's that much value in that. If you want to spot a Bitcoin top, pay attention to when it starts to close below the weekly MA50. That's what we saw there. Pay attention to any potential inability to hold at 70, 72K. That would be a big, big, big warning sign, right? Those are the really rock solid things, pieces of information, clues, data points that we can use to form a decision. We don't want to be looking at the dominance chart to decide what Bitcoin's going to do. Bitcoin will either hold support or it will not. And that's the discipline you want to have as a trader and as an analyst, okay? Is there enough volume to call bottom? Not really. There's not a volume bottom call here per se. It's a great question, Mike. But there is cover. There is thesis for a long trigger 4H. And I went over that in detail at the beginning of this video, vis-a-vis the peak of the W, the 4HW, 81K. So holding that, you have cover. You have a little bit of local volume, which is nice, which is good, and some accumulation. You see that on these large candles. You can see a OBV spike, right? You see a little bit of OBV spike here, suggestive of accumulation, a little bit of a trend break, a bullish trend break in the OBV, and you see that in the volume candles. You don't have kind of typical top-bottom volume, but you don't necessarily need bottom volume in a consolidation, right? This isn't the kind of volume you'd be looking for if price failed here and it was, hanging around in the 40K range. That's where you want to see bottom. This is still consolidation within a mostly intact high time frame trend vis-a-vis price versus MA50. So few people requested curve finance. Let's take a look. I just put out a tweet that it was flexing or flirting with a high time frame break. Overall, I kind of hate the chart. A lot of people tweeting about it. I tend to be a little more of a curmudgeon, a little more conservative. I don't like price below the weekly trend here, which is the downtrend. But on the daily chart, you're seeing an attempt to break a price base. You can even call this an inverted head and shoulders, knees, and toes. And your neck baseline, which is your trigger level, is right here roughly. So you want to see it continue to hold above 60 cents. It's flirting with it. It's right there. It's sloppy, choppy. It may not hold. It may need to kind of come back and tag higher low somewhere there. It looks pretty good, but not like super amazing. I'm not going to rush into it. There is reason, though, to be structuring a long trade And I would say you probably don't want to hold below like 57, 56 cents if you're triggering long here. So it's a mixed picture. I don't like the weekly chart. Daily chart is starting to turn around. I did put out a tweet to alert people price interact. Again, my tweets, it's price interaction with key level. I'm letting you know. What's up, Legends? Says, what's up, Cheds? Freddie says, beautiful cover. I've not read it, but if anything like Trading Wisdom would be great. It's Trading Wisdom Part 2. And thank you. And please leave a review. And good, bad, and ugly. Leave me an honest review, whatever you think. I'm not. Someone said like, send me a book and I'll leave a review. Like, no, I don't want you to leave a review because I sent you a book. I want you to buy it and then tell me if you like it and don't like it. If I send you a book, you're going to leave me a good review, then it's artificial. I want honest reviews, right? Trading Wisdom's got over 850 reviews, like 4.7 out of 5 stars, right? And I want a good body of honest reviews for this book, okay? That's what it's all about. We did CRV, a couple of people like that. Smash the like. Thank you, folks. Great questions thus far. So just to remind everyone, we are in a really interesting spot here on the 4-hour. And the idea is that the 4-hour has found a bottom and the price is going to be rejoining the broader trend, reflecting a hold at the MA50 and essentially front-running the 72K level. That thesis is contingent on holding at 81K, which is the peak of the 4HW. I walked through that in great detail in the earlier video. I'm just putting it back put it back out there that we up, stringer bell, regain 81K zone. That was after losing it, but I kind of walked you through the beginnings of this with the 4H markup, marking up the chart, descending supply trend, the 2-level filter. We ended up breaking on the 2-level filter, triggering a long was stopped out, and has now been revalidated on the recapture of 81K. So a trading idea can be re-triggered once a level. You can reinitiate a trade idea if the thesis is revalidated. And that's the case, holding above 81K. The last ditch level would be the higher low, 78.5. Should that fail, that's going to mean we're probably rolling back down and going to break these lows, hit 72K. So you do want to be watching these two trigger levels on low time frame. There is a very hot, it is a very, a headline sensitive environment, of course, but we should be looking for long trades in this type of environment with this strength, still in the high time frame. So let's see. Somebody said, hey, master, I'm not a master. I'm just a Ched. I'm just a guy. He says, should I be going long in TRX at 2370? I actually think you wait until it breaks 25 cents. I mean, it's one of the stronger charts. I've talked about TRX for quite a while. I like this consolidation, but I'm almost never going to play in the middle of a chop range. Like, why would go long here when you can trade long with confidence and a flip of 25K? That's what I would say, Botaraga. And sure, it's a reasonable stop loss at 22 or 21.5, but I just don't understand why would you trade in here? I would say wait for more clarity. Right? And this is a general concept. I talk about it in all my videos. Do you still think we get 200K? I just don't know. I hope so. I don't. It's very tenuous here. I'd say yeah, until if and when until we lose the MA50. That's kind of the line in the sand, on the weekly chart. So I think I explained my views pretty well here. I will remind people that this is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel. I published 4 books. 3 of them have free versions. And the 4th book is the Trading Journal, now available on Amazon. You want to take a look at the book. You can read the sample. Why you should be using a trading journal. What goes in a trading journal. All the different parts of it. And the whole idea is when you lose money in a trade, even if you win money in a trade, you paid for a lesson. You want to study that lesson and file it away and continue to improve. This is really a how-to guide for trading. Emotional management, how to deal with FOMO. How to deal with boredom, how to deal with your temper when you're trading, good trader habits, buy when you're scared, sell when you're excited, that kind of stuff. And sample trading journals. I think I have like 16, 17, or 18 sample trades where it walks through the story of a trader. I'm excited, I'm bored, I did well, I took a break, I came back, I lost money and took another break, and then I came back, now I feel pretty good. It's this really good story to kind of illustrate how to use the journal, why to use it, and then there's 100 pages of blank entries for you to fill out and actually use the trading journal. Wonderful, wonderful book. Check it out. Let me know if you like it. If you don't like it, tell me. I want to know either way. Talked a little bit about Ethereum, weak to Bitcoin, flat response. I think it really needs now 1750. Solana, a longwood trigger on a recapture of 125. I just remind everybody my favorite exchange is BingX. You can check out the link in the description, Twitter, and on the YouTube video. It's integrated now fully with TradingView. These are quick market updates. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions. I do full market report twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday night with the best team in the world that studies crypto. I am going to do another YouTube tomorrow, and then I'm actually off for the rest of April because I'm traveling. So, but I'm not off in Bitcoin Live. I have not skipped a report in 7 years. So you'll see me there. I'll be, messing around here and there on Twitter. But tomorrow will be another nice opportunity for you to jump in and let me know your thoughts. If you came today, I want you to know I appreciate you for adding energy. I appreciate you for being here with me and spreading the love. So, folks, let's finish it off with Church of Eight Wheels, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. So, folks, thank you so, so much. Big Cheds out. Martwan says, I'll miss you. Martwan, just join Bitcoin Live, brother. And I'll be on Twitter. You don't have to miss me, man. Just join the team. All right, folks. Peace out. Big Cheds out. Be well.